Hi, everybody. It's alisamurray here, hanging out with David Levine. He has ResTech Solutions, and we are doing another Martini Talk. I look forward to having a lot of cool conversations with him about how small businesses can get IT solutions met. It's a lot of techie people out there and a lot of non-techie people out there like me. And so I thank you for being here today, David. I'm excited about you and your small business like me, and we're both in this together as entrepreneurs. And so tell everybody about your business and what you do and all the things that you offer.
Sure. So as you mentioned, we provide IT services for small businesses. So kind of a little bit of who we're looking to work with to start. So we're looking to work with businesses currently that have 1 to 50 employees. We're going to put a little more of a focus right now on the professional services. So your lawyers and CPAs, basically anyone in the professional services space is kind of who we're looking to target right now. But in a broad sense, we'll work with any small business up to 50 employees, with the exceptions of government entities, healthcare, and nonprofits currently.
Okay. So what have you seen as sort of the primary need for a small business with regards to the IT solutions?
So the primary need is just, having that, basic general support. I've come across a lot of small businesses that don't have any formal support in house, and they're trying to self-manage. And when I come in to businesses and they eventually become my clients, I quickly discover, that there's a lot of the products and services they're using is not quite up to the standards that need to be for a business use case. So I've seen a lot of businesses, for example, they need laptops for their staff and employees. So, they'll go out, they'll spend $500 and they think they're getting, a great deal, but what they're actually buying is actually a consumer computer and not a business computer. And the big difference, which you can't really tell or know unless you know how these things are, built and designed, is that the components inside are more robust when it comes to buying for business, because they're designed to run at least 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, where the consumer machines are not. So that's why, 6 months to a year in, you'll start to have a lot of performance issues.
Yeah, I know that. I mean, I don't know how much you're dealing with the software side of things. Is it more on the hardware side of things? But I know that for me, when we first started doing the photography business, it's still a little bit discombobulated at this point too. And it honestly is the same way across the travel and a little bit in the real estate world, whatever. It seems like there's like one thing that you need for this part of the business, and then there's another thing over here that you need for that part of the business. And you really have to really learn like multiple different things that you have to put together then to make the whole thing work with regards to daily production. And it's been kind of frustrating because there's like a program that I use when I'm helping clients pick pictures. There's another program that Brian uses when he's uploading the pictures. There's another program, obviously Photoshop, that he uses when he's retouching the pictures. It's just, and then storage is a whole nother situation. Got to have plenty of room because we're doing a lot of photography, and photography, of course, is a lot of megabytes and terabytes and cha-cha-cha and space. So I would love it if we could figure out a way to take all these different things that we have to use and find one solution that you can just go in and plug in the work and work on the work, and it saves the work, it uploads the work, it does all the stuff that it needs to, can output to the client, can continue to save a file for future client purchases. There's a lot of problems with regards to that. Same thing with booking the travel. I mean, it's the same thing. You've got one service that you use for booking airline. You got another one that you use for booking, resorts and different places that are all inclusive. There's a whole nother one for cruises, and not everybody is connected together. Some of it is over here with one company and another on another company. And when you're trying to put together, let's say, a trip for somebody to Europe, and you really want to handhold them through all these different things, it's a lot of pieces to the puzzle, and then you have to marry everybody together. It's confusing and frustrating at the same time, and it scares me always because I'm scared there's going to be a little crack that something slips through, and there's a whoopsie daisy while the clients are away or whatever. But for me, thankfully, we work on a lot of Mac stuff. We use Macs for everything because of the Photoshop and the art side of what we do. And I haven't had a lot of problem with the actual Macs working. You've got fire them up and they just go and do what they need to do. And so it is interesting, though, to have people that are in the world of corporate where they are having to marry all these different employees' computers together, and they don't really sometimes jive. I'm sure you run into that a lot.
Yeah, that is a common thing I've seen. So kind of what we do, back to your earlier point about asking hardware, software. So we actually kind of do everything from A to Z for our clients. So we take a holistic approach to how we operate in the solutions that we provide for our clients. So we look, as you mentioned, specifically at everything they use, starting with their internet service, their phone service, their email service, to the hardware they're using, the software and services they're using, and even look at their network. We evaluate everything and see, okay, here's what we need to do to kind of get everything to the point where it's just going to be working for you. It's not going to be working against you. And we look for services where we can, as you said, kind of get everything kind of more into a centralized bucket. So the one main piece we actually use and can work for just about any business is Microsoft 365. So you mentioned needing to, upload and store files and be able to share files. You can do that, and then it's right there with your email, and you can use the automation they've built in. So you can build routines and send automatic notices when stuff hits a certain folder. So it's easy to, automate and keep track of what's happening in the system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really nice to have somebody do that for you. Because, if you've got a sales team and all that, they're focused on their job. And it's like, I remember a long time ago, people were like asking me, oh gosh, what kind of camera do you use? And they're like, I actually have it right here. Like, what kind of camera do you use? And I would like go, well, I don't know. What kind of camera do I use? Oh, it's an EOS 5D Mark IV. Oh, okay. That's whatever the camera is I use. And some of the people, in particularly, usually the daddies, were like, oh no, she doesn't know what she's using. Well, no, because for me, it's like everything else. All those things for me are just tools to get me to get my job done. I don't want to deal with, I don't do the research on what that camera is. That's Brian's job. Like I am the artist, like you've got the salespeople, and it's like, we just want to go in and do what we need to do and have everything work smoothly. And there's always somebody that needs to be behind the scenes to make all that happen. So I just love what you're doing, because it is so frustrating being on the other side of it and wanting to I just needed to make it happen. Like, I don't care how that connects. I don't care why this isn't working. I just need someone who understands what's wrong and get it fixed so I can keep moving forward and getting more accomplished from my side of things. So from the perspective of the old artist out here, I'm like, please come help. I love the IT stuff because, that's the stuff that really makes me just pull my wig off, actually. I just want to scream because I'm like, I don't have time to wait for this to work. Why is this not printing? Why is this not scanning? Why is this not doing what it's supposed to do? So I just love that you're able to offer that. And especially too, it's easy for a big company to do all that. They can hire a whole team to come in and do all that mess, and they've got the budget for that. But the small businesses, which is your specialty niche, is really awesome because there's not that many people that can cater to that particular market. And for those of us who are little, like it's just been me and B, a couple of independent contractors, photographers or whatever, but not a big, we've never grown to be big, right? So we don't want to be big. We take care of our clients and give them an experience that's different from a normal studio setting. And I just love the fact that you're catering to that group, because it's sometimes really hard to find somebody that wants to take care of those of us that are little,
It is. And, I've even interacted with a lot of these other companies, and I've learned that a good chunk of them, will not work with the business unless they have a minimum of 12 to 15 employees. So that's why there is kind of that big gap in coverage, especially for the small businesses, the mom and pops. And we've set up our services in such a way where we can bring that same level of service and support that you might think traditionally in the larger enterprises or larger businesses, and bring that. We actually have a very similar solution tailored to the small business market. So we can give them, the same level of networking if they need that, the monitoring, the instant support, the remote support, and we even have the capability to allow them to tie into some of our tools that we use, so they can even access resources back in their office themselves. So for example, if, obviously right now, a lot of businesses, they have employees working remote, but say they have resources in the office they still need to connect to, or workstations. So, so long as we're providing the monitoring solution, we can actually, we have a separate portal that our clients can log into and actually use the same software to then remote into those computers at the office that we would use.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's so helpful, right? I mean, man, especially with all these guys that are working from home and remotely, it's one of those things where they've really had to do a lot of shimmy shaking, I call it, learning how to get up to speed on Zoom. And I mean, I didn't know how to do Zoom. I thought Zoom was going to be this great big mountain to climb. And when I started doing the Martini Talks on Zoom, I was like, oh, this isn't that hard. But it takes a minute, especially for those that don't have that techie brain. It's like, this can be very daunting. So it's just lovely that you've got the services in place to help those of us that are little and that are really not in that mode to be able to understand all of that. And plus, for those that are a little bit bigger, like my real estate office, there's 750 agents there. None of us have met in person, but everybody needs to tap into that office space. And so having access to what we need to with files and with regards to different people that we're used to interacting with on a regular basis to get a real estate transaction done, it's very helpful to have somebody that can go in and figure out how to get that path set so that they can still work from home and be able to do their job. So I just think it's cool. Well, I wanted to thank you for being here. I wanted to give you an opportunity to share with everybody what you've got and that you're out there in the world doing this. And, I know that you take care primarily of Houston and surrounding area. I don't know if at some point you're going to try to venture off into the wild blue yonder outside of the state of Texas, but maybe you will get to be bigger and do that too. I can see with what you do that certainly could be a possibility for you and your company.
Yeah, at some point I do see that. See, our current focus is the greater Houston area. Kind of once we kind of get better established here, I do foresee us kind of moving into the San Antonio, Austin, and Dallas markets. And then from there, probably beyond the state of Texas.
I love to hear that because I want you to grow. You've got a business that's unlike mine in that I have to create the art. I have to be the song and dance, but you've got the ability to be high up here and create a trickle down effect and have lots of people in different areas and spread out all across the country. So you've got a lot of potential growth, which is really cool to see. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I want to thank you. Well, I'm going to watch you do it, and then I'm going to keep promoting you all the way through. So you can count on me to do that over here. That's just what I want to do. I want to take care of you if I can in any way. I want to thank you for being here today. And for you guys that are watching, I want you to also note that in the episode notes, there's going to be all the information on how to get a hold of David. You can schedule a consultation with David and figure out if it's a good fit for your company and, kind of walk through the things that you need and that maybe he's able to offer. And you might actually come up with some new things to offer as you meet with those new not employees, but entrepreneurs together. So I look forward to seeing you grow. And I hope that the viewers have found some value in this. And if you have, please do us a favor, like and share, and don't forget to ring the bell. And we'll see you next week on another Martini Talks. Take care.